Allow me to introduce myself. I am Atlanta's best unknown DJ, DJ Johnny Dynamite, hailing from Chicago, born and bred here in Atlanta, Georgia. You better know that. DynamiteFM.com. Check it out.
Welcome back to another episode.
Atlanta Premiere. I am your host, Khalid.
And I'm your host, Julius. We're back with another episode of Atlanta Premiere Showcase.
And we have a new guest today, DJ Donnie Dynamite.
The best unknown DJ in the southeastern United States, including Atlanta, Georgia. Your auntie's favorite DJ, www.dynamitefm.com.
Now today, so how's DJ business going?
DJ business is pretty cool. It's a lot of ups and downs and things like that. You really have to promote yourself. That's very, very important and very key, especially with all these celebrities like Nick Cannon and people like that going into the DJ business, like Solange Knowles and everybody else. So people that are non-celebrities, you kind of got to make yourself a celebrity within the business.
You know, it's funny you say that because you took that right out of my mouth before. It's how you asked that question. I was about to get into that later about some of these unsung heroes that's already famous taking over your business, and it's real hard.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it kind of downplays it. See, I learned DJing from my uncle. Yeah. You know, I learned on vinyl records. That's a very, very important thing. I learned on vinyl records, and he taught me, you know, the essence of music, how to, you know, manipulate between different genres of music and keep the flow alive. And like one thing that you will notice between a good and a bad DJ is the ability to read a crowd. And you have to be able to read the crowd, understand what they want, but also feed them more, so it's more education as well as partying all in the same sense.
Oh, okay.
You know, and I was like, wow, you know, maybe I can incorporate that. So it's a constant learning experience.
Okay, that's good.
Right. You saying that? So what you use mostly, vinyl, or you use the CD, or you use the program?
Oh well, I try not to use CDs. CDs is my backup. I use vinyl, but I use a program that allows me to use vinyl. Now, in using that program, it also allows me to use real vinyl that's pressed up also. So I try to incorporate all of that because it's an elemental form. Like, you know, if you haven't learned how to DJ with records, if you haven't had to carry crates of records, I mean, when I first started, I had to carry 70-pound crates of records upstairs, you know what I mean? And then you go and rock a party for 3-4 hours, and then you got to pick that same crate up and bring it back home. You know, I mean, that's why I learned. And, you know, that elemental form can make you true to this whole thing. So, you know, it's not just about CDs and pushing buttons. You really got to learn how to blend your music well.
Okay. So tell us about your first experience, your first DJ, and how did it really feel when you first did it?
Okay. As I told y'all, you know, back, I'm from Chicago. So my first experience was, you know, my mom, she used to have like blue lights in the basement parties all the time. And all the people used to come to our house because, you know, she had the bar built in and all this and everything else. And so, you know, my uncle for a couple of weeks had been teaching me about James Brown. And so he gave me the opportunity one day. He said, you know, why don't you come downstairs and play some music for everybody, you know, until, you know, everybody get here. I had to be like, I don't know, about 10, 11 years old. So, you know, I go down there, I had ironed out my little polka dot shirt, you know, I go down there and I'm playing the music, you know what I'm saying? But I was playing what I like to hear, you know, and at that time it was a lot of Run DMC, LL Cool J and stuff like that. And it was weird because like he came to me in the middle of my little set or whatever, and he was like, you know who made that original song or whatever? And he was like, that's James Brown, that's the one I told you about. So what I ended up doing was taking that James Brown record and playing that alongside the hip-hop record that had sampled that. And you know what I'm saying, I saw how everybody in the crowd just kind of went crazy, and they was looking at me and taking pictures and stuff. And you know, it was at that point in time I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do.
Crowd control, I like that, because me and myself, I always bring up with the guests and everybody. I said I used to want to be an MC, and I used to always want to have that crowd control. Right. It didn't matter if it was comedy or rapping or whatever.
Right.
I just want that crowd control. So that you fell in love with that. And
yeah.
It took your heart. I see that.
I mean, it's intoxicating. Like, you know, it's funny now. Like, it's still intoxicating to this day. Like, you know, when I'm going to a party, you know, I still get nervous. You know, before I put that needle on that first record, I still get nervous. I do a lot of clubs around Atlanta, and, you know, the bartenders, you want something to drink? I'm like, nah, I don't want to drink, you know, because I'm just so nervous and it's so much adrenaline. But it's like once you get going, it's like, it's intoxicating, man. I mean, you know, just to see people come in from maybe a hard days of work or whatever problems they got going on at home, and being able to just for those couple of hours, you know, being able to help them to release all of that stress and tension. I mean, that's intoxicating, man. It's almost feeling like, you know, sort of like a preacher feel on Sunday when he give a good message.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
You know?
Or psychologist helping somebody. I
Right,
guess.
right.
But I see when you say they give you the drink, they probably don't know, but not everybody want a drink first. First off, they get natural highs first,
Right.
and then maybe they'll want to smooth down a little bit. They'll probably get a little drink
Right,
too.
right. I mean, you know, I indulge a little bit. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I indulge a little bit without question. You know what I mean? But you know, I mean that high, that level that you have is so great when you first walk into a place. I mean, you know, I used to show up to parties late, so that people could see me carrying in my speakers and see me carrying in my turntable, and you get over, oh, what he gonna do? What he gonna do? And you know what I mean? It just that right there just is that's the essence of it, man. That's the
Really
essence of
pumping.
it. Yeah, you know, that's the essence of it.
Yeah, I knew a female DJ that she told me the same thing. Like she said, when people see me and they say I'm a female DJ, cause she had like a dude name,
Right,
and they be amazed that she was a female DJ. She said the same thing. She wanted the people to be like, oh, what's she gonna do?
right, right.
But I guess that's a code of the DJs. Then.
Right, right. I mean, it's a high unmatched by anything ever, and I also get another high off of, you know, when you go into a spot and there's other DJs there, you know, because, you know, hip hop, and the definition of it is a competitive sport.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so when there's other DJs there, you come in and they looking like, oh, okay, who is this kid right here?
What's he gonna do?
You know, and then like, you know, 10 minutes into my show, I got them on the middle of the floor, you know, sweating. You know what I'm saying?
They forgot they gotta do a
Right,
too.
right,
They like,
right.
oh man, I gotta go up after this
Right,
guy.
right. So, you know, it's love like that, man.
It's
You
true,
know,
true. Like performances, somebody
Right.
do a good performance, and then you have to come out after that performance, and it's hard when you come off a great performance, especially when the crowd loves you.
Right.
You got to come after that, then you got to spit the same thing and sing the same thing, and the crowd's looking at you like, I'm not feeling you. I'm not really feeling you. Bring other man back on. Yo, you want him back on.
Right,
He's
right.
better. He's better.
Right. And, you know, I went through that too. You know what I'm saying? I went through a stage where, you know, I was opening up for a lot of people. You know, I toured with Jagged Edge for a little while, and that was crazy, you know, because they were like the big time R&B group. And, you know, I'm this hip hop kid from Chicago, you know, playing break beats and stuff. You know, everybody's like, okay, when Jagged Edge coming on, you know. So, you know, I went through that too. But, you know, it's a process where you kind of got to pay your dues,
Okay.
you know.
So each process was different. Each city you went to, you were on a tour with them?
Yeah, each city was different. You know, but one thing is good music is good music, regardless of what it is. I've done parties where I have played like, you know, a Marvin Gaye song, you know, and then came back with some Kenny Rogers, and, you know, nobody knew what it was because I mixed it a certain type of way.
No, that's good.
And we was talking about earlier, you know, it's an educational form too, because, you know, it makes people, you know, I love when people hold their iPhone up, you know what I'm saying, trying to understand what
Trying to
song
record.
that is or record that, or, you know, when people come and ask me, can you give me this a live mix CD, you know, that really does something for me, because, you know, I don't want to go into a club and sound like what you just heard when you drove to that club on the radio.
That's true.
You know, I try my best to do that, you know, even if that means, you know, you could be 18 years old and know nothing about anything that happened in the early 80s hip hop, but, you know, I'm going to introduce that to you with what's going on today, and you're going to be like, oh, okay, that's where that came from. You know, it was funny the other day, this kid, you know, I had a picture of me with a Walkman, and he was like, what's that? You know what I mean? And I was like, you know, you know.
A Walkman.
Right, but you know, it's like we gotta educate the masses, and you know, that's why I really like appreciate my uncle, people like Rasta Root, who is my you know, like my sensei, you know what I'm saying? People like that who just consistently show me the way with the whole DJing thing and where it came from.
All right. I got this question to ask you. Basically, with the formula that you use, do you go outside of just the R&B and soul and hip hop? I'd heard you say Kenny Rogers, so I'm
Right.
trying to say you do that dance stuff and
Right.
that trip hop,
Right.
and the stuff we said earlier and the little techno sounds and all that?
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest with you, I got my start in Chicago, and when I got my start, Chicago was the mecca of house music. So I learned everything I know from house music. So house music branches out into the techno, into the trip hop, and then if you look further into house music, it goes deep into the blues, into Afrobeat, and jazz, and all of that. I incorporate all of that in my show. It's nothing for you to hear me go from Beyonce to Lady Gaga, and maybe to a cool song that I heard while I was watching Sesame Street growing up. I sample everything. In my studio, I have my television hooked into my system, so therefore, 321 Contact come on or Mr. Rogers come on, I'm going to sample that into my show, because I want to make it entertaining.
Amazing. That's amazing. Sampling
That's,
my
that's
neighborhood.
very, very
Be
amazing.
my friend in my neighborhood.
Right.
Where that song
Oh yeah,
Right.
on your tour now, when you go home, did you ever went back home on a tour when you
Right.
were Jagged Edge?
Right.
Now on the tour home, did you tour it up, or was it a different feel when you was there at home? Was it like
I mean-
comfortable, or was it like, I'm home now, I could do this, or I'm nervous, I don't know how people gonna take it, or just
I mean, it's just like a basketball player. When you come home, of course you're more comfortable because that's where you're born and bred. You know what I mean? Like, I'm from Chicago, but I could say I learned my adult life and everything as far as Atlanta is concerned. I came to Atlanta in '94, and that's when Atlanta was really blowing up with the crunk music scene, Club 559, etc. You know what I'm saying? Where Atlanta was like, Little John and East Side Boys and Kilo Ali, all them ran the city. So when I do a party in Atlanta, it's like, it's no thinking. You know what I mean? It's no thinking. I could just look out there and I know what the people want. But then if I do a show, let's say I do a show in South Carolina, it's a little different. You know what I mean? But, at the end of the day, as long as people is smiling and I see the ladies taking off their shoes and the fellas unbuttoning the top button of their shirt, I know I'm doing my job.
That's why I like a party city. Party DJs, they're like the best DJs. Can't play the same thing over and over. I can't hear the same. If I just hear the same song twice, I don't like the clubs.
Right.
I don't like it.
Right.
And I'm
That's
glad I met somebody like you. Now I need to go to where all the spots. What spots in Atlanta you be at? Do
Okay.
you frequent a lot of clubs here?
Yeah, I try to frequent everything in Atlanta. Last weekend, I went to this place called the Cuckoo Room, and I heard Baby U. Big shout out to Baby U. You doing your thing out there, boy. So that was real cool. I try to hit up as many clubs as possible, but you can catch me probably every second Friday at Face Off Friday at MJQ, as I'm under apprenticeship with Ja Prince and Rasta Root, the Smoking Needles family. And you can catch me periodically at the I Lounge, which is at 1287 Glenwood in East Atlanta. I'm there quite often as well.
All right. People, you hear that? Do you want him to repeat it again? Repeat it for the fans again.
Yeah, I'm at the I Lounge pretty frequently. That's 1287 Glenwood. It's a hookah bar, and it's free to get in. Matter of fact, I'm going to be there on the 29th. The 29th, come out, get your musical elevation from me right there. It's in East Atlanta, 1287 Glenwood. Also, every second Friday, there's Face Off Fridays, and I'm under apprenticeship with Rasta Root. Come check me out there. And just, pretty much any speaker you want to get to. And if you just want to hear some stuff, even today, go to www.dynamitefm.com, upload my videos, mixtapes, and it's all free.
All right. And earlier I had asked you about being a real DJ.
Right.
Like the only two people I know famous right now that's real DJs is probably Kid Capri and Biz Markie. So do you want to travel outside of U.S., go to Canada and
Man,
UK?
That's like the biggest dream ever for me. And you just named two of my favorite DJs ever. You just left one off, and that's DJ Jazzy Jeff. But Biz Markie, if y'all don't mind me just going into this situation, I remember when I first came down here to go to school, Biz Markie was spinning at the warehouse. And it was crazy because any DJ knows, or any performing artist knows, sometimes you got equipment problems. The equipment basically failed on him. And Biz didn't break off at all. Most DJs throw their hands up. Biz got on the mic and started beatboxing. And everybody was dancing like it was nothing, like, you know what I mean? And I was just like, wow, I was just in awe. So, yeah, that'd be great, man. I would love to go overseas. I dig for records all the time. I would love to go to London and dig for records. Being a real DJ, it's something that you just have to do. It's something you have to do. You know,
That is
someone
true,
asked me a while ago, they said, you know, if you didn't have your turntables, what would you do? I'll probably ball up in the corner somewhere, man, honestly. You know, I mean, I spend my last money on records. That's it's just in you like that. It's an elemental form of hip hop, and I'm hip hop. So.
That is true.
I'm mad that you brought up GZ Jazzy Jeff. That's my favorite DJ.
Oh yeah, man.
And I didn't mention him. I forgot about that man.
Yeah, Jazzy Jeff is he's awesome, man. He's awesome.
But true, that overseas element is good because right now, everybody overseas right now is like loving it like crazy to hip hop.
Right.
And I know, especially I've been over there, and when you go in the clubs, I'm sure to play the techno, but when they play the hip hop, it was good. I remember one time, during that time as a military, I was in Greece. I didn't know Master P made it that far. They was playing Master P. I was like,
did they even understand what he was saying?
I don't think they understand what he was saying, but they were just playing it. I was surprised. Did anybody notice this? Well, I'm going to have fun.
They follow the beat.
Right.
Follow the beat.
Everybody just followed the feet and loved it.
The rhythm moves you. Like they say, every song they say, the rhythm moves you. Gloria Estefan made the biggest hit with that rhythm. What is it? Rhythm Take You Over?
Yeah, the Congo song.
Yeah, and I think that's universal now, I guess.
I mean, it's drums, man. You know what I mean? It's drums. Like, you know, all forms of music go back to the drum, and that goes back to, like, you could listen to African drums, man. You know, and I mean, if it don't move you, something wrong with you.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
You know, so I mean, yeah, man. Like, I would love to travel overseas, and that's definitely a goal of mine in a very near and recent future.
Thank you for watching another episode of Atlanta Premiere. With I guess DJ JD for real, aka Johnny Dynamite.
Thank you and everybody else for tuning in for another episode of Atlanta Premiere with our guest today.
Peace and blessings, y'all. Once again, man, it's your grandma and auntie's favorite DJ, DJ Johnny Dynamite. Check me out, www.dynamitefm.com. You can also find me on Facebook at John DJ JD Hobbs. Hit me up, 404-277-3797. I do any party, large or small, backyard barbecue to the biggest, grandest ball. It don't matter. Also, check me out, the iLounge, 1287 Glenwood Avenue, July 29th. Bring your dancing shoes, lady, bring your flats, because you're going to get up out them high heels. Trust me, and it's free. No doubt. Johnny Dynamite, appreciate it. Y'all look out for me. Bless. Be sure to check out www.dynamitefm.com, and you're watching all